Buckle up, because what you're about to hear is one of the most terrifying, mysterious, and downright unbelievable stories on Earth. An island where time has stood still for over 50,000 years. A tribe that has never known electricity, airplanes, or even the outside world. And a young man who believed he could walk into this forbidden place, armed with nothing but a Bible, a kayak, and his faith. This is North Sentinel Island, the deadliest island on the planet. A place so dangerous that the Indian government has declared it completely off limits. No tourists, no researchers, no curious adventurers. Anyone who tries to enter, never come back. And yet in 2018, one man did the unthinkable. His journey ended in a way that shocked the entire world. So grab your headphones, settle in, and let's dive into the most chilling story ever told about North Sentinel Island. The waves of the Indian Ocean crash like thunder against the reef. A lone kayak drifts into the shallows, cutting across waters that have swallowed explorers, missionaries, and fools alike. The man inside is young, confident, perhaps even fearless. His name, John Allen Chau. His mission? To bring the word of God to the most isolated tribe on Earth. But what John doesn't realize, or maybe refuses to accept, is that he is paddling not toward salvation, but toward the jaws of history. Because the island ahead of him, North Sentinel Island, is not just forbidden, it is deadly. Here time has stood still for tens of thousands of years. Here the people know nothing of smartphones, skyscrapers, or Starbucks pumpkin spice lattes. Here, an outsider's arrival almost always ends the same way, in silence or in blood. And yet John believed he was chosen by God himself to risk it all, to defy the Indian government, the law, and even common sense. By the time the first arrow flew, John had already crossed a line that no outsider was ever meant to cross. In the world of Reddit threads, conspiracy TikToks, and late-night YouTube rabbit holes, North Sentinel Island has become an internet legend. Some say it hides a secret CIA research base. Others joke that it's the real-life Jurassic Park. There are even North Sentinel Island merch drops, Instagram meme pages, and, I kid you not, fake Google reviews that say things like 5 stars, great vacation, just don't get shot. The truth? The island is deadly serious. Every year, dozens of curious thrill seekers try to approach the forbidden zone, and every year, the Indian Coast Guard has to push them back. But some, like John, don't turn around. To understand why North Sentinel is so feared, we have to go back, way back. The last ice age. Massive glaciers cover much of the Earth. Seas are lower. Continents stretch farther. A group of early humans leaves Africa, walking across ancient landscapes now swallowed by the Indian Ocean. They travel with crude tools, hunting game, following the stars. Eventually, they reach what we now call the Andaman Islands. Thousands of years pass, the seas rise, the islands shrink, and a small group is left stranded, cut off from the rest of humanity. That group? The ancestors of the Sentinelese. For as long as we've kept records, they've lived the same way. Hunting pigs in the jungle, spearing fish along the reefs, gathering fruits and honey, building huts out of palm leaves, crafting bows and arrows with terrifying accuracy. And here's the twist. They may be among the most genetically unique people alive. Studies of neighboring tribes show rare DNA variants not found anywhere else on Earth. That makes them not just unique, but fragile. One cough, one sneeze, one handshake from an outsider could wipe them out, and maybe deep down that's why they shoot arrows at anyone who gets too close. Of course, history is full of outsiders who couldn't resist. In the 1800s, a young British naval officer named Maurice Vidal Portman became obsessed with the Sentinelese. He had already studied other tribes in the Andaman Islands, photographing them, dressing them up, and, disturbingly, treating them like exotic specimens. But North Sentinel was the one tribe he couldn't reach, so he came up with a plan: kidnap them. One day, Portman's men ambushed a small group. An elderly couple and several children. The adults quickly became sick, likely from diseases their bodies had never encountered. Within days, they were dead. The children were returned to the island, loaded down with gifts. But along with the gifts, they may have carried something else, foreign microbes. Did that single act doom generations of Sentinelese to distrust outsiders forever? We may never know. One thing's for sure, Portman's actions left scars that have never healed. Even in modern times, the island remains hostile. In 1974, a National Geographic film crew tried to make contact. They were greeted not with smiles, but with arrows. One cameraman got shot in the leg. The footage? Legendary. 7 years later, a cargo ship called the Primrose ran aground on a reef near the island. At first, the stranded crew thought they'd lucked out. Land was close. Help would come. But soon, dozens of Sentinelese appeared on the beach, armed with spears and bows, building boats. The crew panicked. They sent a desperate radio message. Wild men, estimate more than 50, carrying various homemade weapons, making boats, our lives not guaranteed. Luckily, a storm delayed the islanders long enough for a helicopter to rescue them. Had it not, we'd likely be telling a very different story. Now let's fast forward to John Allen Chau. Born in 1991, John was the son of a Christian father and grew up in an evangelical household. He loved two things: the outdoors and Jesus. By his 20s, he was fully devoted to missionary work. He browsed databases like the Joshua Project, which listed unreached peoples, groups untouched by Christianity. And one entry stood out: the Sentinelese. John saw them not as a danger, but as a divine calling. He wrote prayers like, "God, I thank you for choosing me before I was even formed in my mother's womb to be your messenger to the people of North Sentinel Island." He trained at All Nations, a missionary boot camp. The training included bizarre simulations like wandering through fake villages filled with actors pretending to be hostile tribes. Imagine summer camp meets LARPing, but with Bible verses. John knew it was risky. He even admitted, "I could die. Please do not be angry at them or at God if I get killed. Don't retrieve my body." And yet, he pressed forward. In November 2018, John bribed a group of local fishermen with $325 to secretly take him near North Sentinel. They dropped him off offshore with a kayak and a waterproof Bible. His first landing did not go well. When he approached singing Christian hymns, the Sentinelese responded the only way they knew how, with arrows. One pierced his Bible, which John later saw as a sign from God. Personally, I'd call it a sign to get the heck out of there. John fled back to the fisherman's boat. He'd lost his gear, his pelican case, and his passport, but instead of quitting, he doubled down. The next morning, he stripped to his underwear, yes, his underwear, hoping to seem less threatening. Side note, imagine explaining that strategy to Homeland Security. "No, officer, I wasn't trespassing. I was just half naked and spreading the gospel." This time, he swam toward the shore. The fishermen, watching from a distance, couldn't intervene. All they could do was wait. Hours passed. Then, from the tree line, they saw movement. The Sentinelese emerged, dragging John's lifeless body across the sand. He was just 26 years old. News of John's death spread like wildfire. Some painted him as a martyr, a brave man willing to die for his faith. Others called him reckless, arrogant, even delusional. His own father blamed evangelical extremism, calling religion the opium of the masses. Meanwhile, missionary groups hailed him as an inspiration. The Indian government, already strict about protecting the island, doubled down. The fishermen who helped John were arrested. The Coast Guard increased patrols, and John's body, it was never recovered. By his own request, it was left on the island. Today, North Sentinel remains as mysterious as ever. We don't know how many people live there, maybe 80, maybe 150. We don't know what language they speak, what they call themselves, or what myths and stories shape their lives. What we do know is this: for over 50,000 years, they've survived alone. They've resisted colonizers, missionaries, filmmakers, tourists, and the endless curiosity of the internet. They want nothing from us. And maybe that's the point. Because in a world where every square inch is mapped, photographed, and posted online, North Sentinel remains one of the last places truly untouched by the outside world. And maybe, just maybe, it should stay that way. John Allen Chau believed he was chosen, but North Sentinel Island is not a place for saviors. It is a place of survival, a reminder that not everything in this world was meant for us to touch. Some mysteries are better left alone.